I'm glad you guys were talking about children, because you see right here the Ramos family. And as Joe said, or Tyler said, yes, I've been involved with Shackley for 45 years. I've been taking the product for 45 years. I'm the ugliest one in this picture, I must tell you. So I'll let you guys figure out who I am. So, but all my children are all Shackley babies, which means simply this, that every one of them, which is 4 of them, my 2 girls from the middle to the right, and my 2 boys, which are the one right behind my wife and the one to the very left. But every one of them were consuming Shackley before they entered this world, because I believed in health more than anything. And that was instilled into me by my mother, who forcefully started making me take Shackley at a very young age. And I must tell you that in those days, the protein did not taste good. Dr. Shackley lied when he said it was delicious, and it simply wasn't. But it gave me incredible results, because when you're a young man, you want to start getting bigger muscles, be faster. I was into athletics. I played high school football. I played college football. I loved all sports. And when I started seeing myself grow, I said, no, this is stuff. I started taking 2-3 shakes a day. And to this day, 45 years later, I don't know if you can see the screen, but I take a Shackley protein for breakfast every morning. What my mother instilled in me, I instilled it to my children. That health came before anything else. And also with my girls, I said, if you keep taking Shackley, you're going to look younger. My girls are 42, 37, and the boys are 29 and 28. The girls thank me today because they look 10 years younger than their actual age. And they still keep taking Shackley, because now they're firm believers that in being healthy, looking younger, living longer is the goal for the entire Ramos family. We can go to the next screen then, Joe.
Okay.
So 100 years of innovation. Fortunately for the Ramos family, we've been involved with Shackley 45 of those 100 years. The story is, as I told you, my mom instilled Shackley into me, and she was a Shackley distributor. And about 30 years ago, Lori and I started doing the business part-time. And because we were using the products, and we were saying, well, why don't we sell, share the products, sell a few products to make some money to pay for, our household consumption. And so we started doing Shackley part-time to make a few extra bucks to pay for our Shackley products, because we've been taking them, and, as the family grows, the expense gets more and more. But 25 years ago or so, or a little over 25 years ago, Lori and I decided that we wanted to do the Shackley business full time. We're like what many of you are today, about the same age when we started doing Shackley full time. I started getting interested in the sales plan. I started studying it, and I realized that this was a business that we can run from our home, receive incredible tax benefits from running from our home, and also be around our children, which was the most important thing. We wanted to be able to be there for our children. The businesses we had weren't allowing us to do that. At the time, we owned a construction company, and we also owned a Western Union check cashing business in East Los Angeles. And we realized that we were more married to our business. We were trading hours for money, and we had a nanny and a living at our home, taking care of our children. We said, that's not the life we thought about when we started planning our family. And so Lori said, I want to be home for the kids when they come home from school. And I said, well, let's look at the Shackley business. We know everything about the product. We've been taking it for years. And I realized that it was an incredible opportunity for us, for Lori to stay at home, to run the business from our home. And so that's where we started about 25 years ago. We got into it like what you guys are doing now, full throttle. We became master coordinators in less than 5 years, and we never looked back. Shackley has paid us every single month for all those years, and we actually took a few years off because we wanted to be with our children as they were going through their high school years and their college years. And our sons were really involved in sports, and we never missed a game, not one single game, not one single event for our daughters and our sons through those years. That sabbatical we took was quite a few years, and I must tell you, I was also challenging Shackley to see if they were going to keep paying me this residual passive income that we talked about, that we promoted so much. I must tell you this, that Shackley never missed a check. We always did our volume. We always got paid, and we were really involved. I have to be honest with you. I was probably the highest paid person on the block because Shackley paid me, and I don't think I was putting in 8 hours per week. But we built this huge organization. And as you'll find out, when you build a team, the work you put in today, you'll be paid for in the future. Not only you, but your family as well. Because the reason why Lori and I are back in is, once again, for our family. We want to build even a larger team than before. And it's working out really well, especially with team members like you guys. And we're building this team. Why? Because we want to leave something to our children. The Shackley business when we're no longer here. Though, when you see that 100 years in innovation, our plan is to live 100 years healthy. Lori and I, of course, are grandparents today, but we don't take one single prescription. We never have. Our doctors are telling us, what's wrong with you guys? Everybody your age is on something. And we tell them, we're just on Shackley. That's it. And then they don't want to hear it anymore, because my doctor's been my doctor for 30 years. And he says, oh, you come in here and tell me about Shackley. But I said, look, Steve, his name is Steve. Steve, listen to me. If I need you here for my whole 100 years to take care of me, because I don't trust anybody else. But of course, he wants nothing of it, because you know how doctors are. But let's talk about the 100 years of innovation by Dr. Shackley and the company he founded. As you all know, and maybe some of you don't, but Dr. Shackley invented the first multivitamin in the United States, which you see right there on the screen. It was a liquid form of what we have today, the Liquilia, and he invented that in 1915. 1915 is when he gave the United States its first multivitamin. In 1956, Dr. Shackley and his two sons, Forrest Jr. and Lee Shackley, started this incredible corporation. Dr. Shackley started this corporation that eventually became a Fortune 500 company at the age of 62. In 1956, most people didn't even live to be 62. And Dr. Shackley is starting a major corporation at the age of 62 because he felt great. He was healthy. He practiced what he preached. And as you see, the next 56 years were incredible. We can go to the next screen now. We provide a healthier life for everyone and a better life for anyone that decides they would want to do this business. But the most important thing is, of course, health. Health is the most important. Ralph Waldo Emerson said simply, without health, wealth is meaningless. Now at my age, I believe that more than ever before. Maybe in my 20s and 30s, I didn't think about it as much, but today I think about it quite a bit, that my wealth is much more valuable, a much greater asset than anything else I have, anything I could own, anything I could earn. And so Dr. Shackley taught us that, because 100 years ago, he gave us, as I said, the first multivitamin. He combined the power of nature with science to create this for all of us today. And that we've had this now for 60 years. And now we have our visionary owner who owns Roger Barnett, a multi-billionaire investor that purchased Shackley about 13 years ago. And he believes in the philosophy that Dr. Shackley gave us. Now, when I say that your health is much important than your wealth, it's also an incredible investment that you can make in yourself. All of you are much younger. Most of you are probably old enough to be my children, or even younger than all my children. I tell young people this all the time. The greatest investment you can make is in your health. And I say, just simply with just one thing, there's a variety of benefits that you have, but all of you pay Social Security tax, don't you? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Everybody, okay, great. So Social Security, you keep putting it into the system every week, every month, and that money just accumulates, and you hope and pray that one day you'll be able to retire and the system will still be in effect and be able to pay you your Social Security check every month. I tell young people this all the time. Why don't you try to live longer so the system will keep paying you? Because the system is designed for half the people to pass away at a young age, which means they'll never hit 65. And so, because if everybody lived to be 100, the system would go bankrupt. I simply say this: if you take care of yourself now, and then make sure you could live 100 years, you will receive everything you put into the system, and it will return. 10 years of extra life is probably worth $250,000 in benefits to each and every one of you. An extra 10 years. 20 years is $500,000. And so that is an incredible investment you can make. It's probably the best return on your money that you can possibly have. Those of you that maybe are not thinking about retirement now, but guess what? All of you are paying into your retirement. And that's why I think Dr. Shackley gave us that philosophy. Why don't we take care of ourselves now so we can live a long, healthy life? And Roger Barnett tells us, live younger, live longer with Shackley. Next slide, please. Purity and safety beyond organic. And you guys were mentioning this earlier in our meeting today, that we are safe, we are pure, and we are beyond organic. Shackley has always assured us of this. And why? Next slide. Because that is our belief. Beyond organic reflects our belief that our quality standards go up beyond how and where an ingredient is grown. As Joe said, we go all over the world looking for the greatest ingredients, the most natural ingredients, beyond organic ingredients. And we test the soil. We look to confirm the purity and the potency of ingredients because we test it. We actually check everything from the product, from the delivery, from the creation of the product to the delivery to the customer. How do we do this? By conducting over 100,000 quality tests per year. No one does this. There is no other competitor in the market today that does this. And why? They couldn't afford to do it. Their product would go up 1,000%. We've been doing it for 60 years. We already have the infrastructure to do this. No one today can start a company like Shackley without charging 10 times more for the product. It would be too expensive to do the testing that we do. We screen for over 350 contaminants, pesticides, impurities on every botanical ingredient. This is 3 times the required amount from the United States Pharmacopoeia. This testing is what is the Shackley difference. This is the reason why our product works. This is the reason why it's safe. This is the reason why it's guaranteed. Next slide, please. And also the results are pretty evident. Now it's not even 120 published papers. We have over 128 published papers and scientific presentations. Let me tell you what a published paper is. That means it's a paper that's been submitted and it's reviewed by your peers. It's not like we review our own papers. This is reviewed by your peers, and then they establish that it's sufficient enough to be published in a scientific journal. Everybody knows that we just had the Winter Olympics. Imagine that having a published paper is like making the Olympics. Thousands of people vie to be on the Olympic team here in the United States every single year, and only a few are chosen, or only a few qualify to make that Olympic team. A published paper is the same thing. Thousands of people submit their papers, only a few are chosen. We've been chosen 128 times. And of course, we have over 70 patents and patents pending on our product, which now they'll never be able to recreate Nutriferon or Vivix. Only Shackley has those 2 products, and nobody can say they have anything similar to it. Next slide. You guys mentioned this before, but Shackley supplement users of over 20 years, like myself, had double-digit health outcomes. This landmark study was done by Dr. Blackburn from UC Berkeley, an established institution. They say it's the #1 public university in the United States. And that's where this landmark study came from. And it showed that Shackley users had 33% lower levels of triglycerides. Let me tell you a little bit more about the landmark study. It took 3 sets of people: Shackley consumers of another, let's say, brand of nutritional products, multivitamin or protein. And the third group was just taking placebos. They were not taking anything. Shackley users by far came in first place. Interestingly enough, in second place were the people that used nothing. In third place were the consumers of other other nutritional products because you don't know what they're getting. They don't do the testing to assure it doesn't have metals in it, to assure it doesn't have pesticides. And these people had worse health than the ones that use nothing at all. Here you see heart health, 33% lower levels of triglycerides, 11% lower cholesterol levels, 36% lower homocysteines for your brain health. And for people that suffer stress, especially here in LA where we have so much traffic, well, what Shaklee uses at 59% lower levels of C-reactive protein. And we all know today that stress kills. Stress is really one of the main factors of people getting sick. And that's why people move out of the rat race, because they want to reduce their stress. But with Shaklee, we have many products: stress relief complex, B complex, gentle sleep to help you sleep, products that will help you reduce your stress and have you have a healthier life. Next slide, please. So we have many people using Shaklee products, but we also have extraordinary people using it, right? Shaklee performance athletes. Here it says 137 medals, but we just won 8 additional gold medals and 6 golds and 2 bronze during the Winter Olympics. So now we're up to 145 medals. Millions of people use Shaklee to improve their health. Many Shaklee users have been customers for decades, and they tell inspiring stories of their life transformations. I told you mine simply because I started using Shaklee at a young age, but I've never had any health issues to be able to give you that testimony, what Shaklee did for me. But I have many testimonies of the people we've helped, Lori and I, throughout the years becoming healthier. But here you see people like these Shaklee athletes who have won 145 gold, bronze, and silver medals that use Shaklee products to get that edge, that competitive edge, and also because Shaklee is clean, which in Olympic terminology means we're not going to get tested and we're not going to flunk our tests after we win a medal, because every medalist has to give blood after they win their event. Every single one, and that's where they get tested, and that's where athletes are terrified, like the Russian athlete that was kicked out of the Olympics for testing positive for steroids. But we also have astronauts that use Shaklee. There's Kelly's here, they're identical twins, have been using Shaklee products for decades, and they took it up to the space shuttle. And Scott Kelly used Shaklee supplements and Shaklee performance on the International Space Station for a year. And I don't know if you can see me. Joe, you guys can't see me yet, right? Well, in my hand, I have a Time magazine where Scott Kelly's on the front cover, A Year in Space. A year in space using Shaklee, the Shaklee Vitalizer and Shaklee Performance. These are men that believe in Shaklee, that use Shaklee, but I must say this, they couldn't have taken it up if NASA did not approve it. I tell people all the time, if NASA approves Shaklee, if it's good enough for NASA and our astronauts, why wouldn't it be good enough for you? Because you know NASA is going to test it more than we even test it to assure that this product is what their astronauts need. Next slide. So safe, proven, 100% guaranteed since 1956. We have the system, people. We have the system that's been proven. We have a system that is safe. We have a system that's guaranteed. The product is 100% guaranteed, no questions asked. So don't you think that a company that's been around over 60 years has 100% guaranteed? I think they know what they're talking about. And you probably also know that the product really works, because I don't think a company that's been around for 60 years would guarantee 100% money back guaranteed if it doesn't work for you. That's what Shaklee is. That's the Shaklee difference. And we have no competition. There's many other companies that offer multivitamins, protein products, other nutritional products. But I assure you of this, they will not do their due diligence like Shaklee does. Vet Shaklee, you will know one thing. We've never had a product recalled. We've never had an issue with any of our product. You know, let's say an issue out there in the field where people are getting ill, like many other companies that start having these issues. Shaklee's never had that issue. We've always been on top. We always will be on top. and will be that for the next 50 or 60 years. Next slide, please. So now I finished with the Shaklee difference. I told you why the product works, how I feel. I've lived the Shaklee life. Lori and I have received all these incredible benefits from Shaklee. Not only that monthly check, but also more personal time with our family, company cars, company trips all over the world. We got to travel. You saw all my kids. Well, they were traveling Shaklee style when, I'll be honest with you, I think the youngest one was in his mommy's tummy when we took our first Shaklee trip many, many years ago. That was, over 25 years ago. But I want to share this with you, that there's certain people in the world. If you look at the left part of your screen, there's 4 ways to produce income here in the United States. Unfortunately, 95% of the population in the United States has 5% of the wealth. 95% of the population in the United States only owns 5% of the wealth in the United States. Why? Because most people are employees. You're trading hours for money. That's it. Simply said, an employee has a job, trades hours for money, and that's how he lives. Or you might even be self-employed, because many doctors, lawyers, architects, contractors are, or like what Lori and I were, business owners, right? But we had to trade hours for money. A doctor, if he doesn't go into the hospital and operate or sees his patients, cannot make any money. He's trading hours, or she, for money. But 5% of the population owns 95% of the wealth here in the United States. 5%. Most of those wealth owners are business owners that own a system. Not own a business where they just trade hours for money, because if they don't open their doors, they don't make any money. I'm talking about a business owner that owns a system. Now, we do have investors that own investments that have incredible wealth, but you have to make the income to be an investor. You have to have the money in order to invest. I tell you this, that Shaklee has the system. You can be an owner of a Shaklee system and be part of that 5%. Where would you want to be? That's why I'm asking all of you this morning. Do you want to be the ones on the left, or do you want to be the ones on the right? Do you want to just trade hours for money, or do you want to join me and your other upline, Jim Burke, to be the one on the right, to own this system that is safe, proven, and I'm going to say the word guaranteed. If you put the hours in, I guarantee you're going to own part of the system and have incredible benefits owning a Shaklee business, like cars, money, trips, all paid for by Shaklee. And so I close with this, having a better tomorrow. What would make your tomorrow better than today? For us, Lori and I, it was personal. We wanted to spend more time with our family. We wanted flexibility to be able to say, okay, we're going to take a few days off and spend some time with our children. We want to take trips paid for. By the way, we love taking trips, going on vacation, but I love that Shaklee pays for them. And they paid for my children as they were growing up. My children have traveled all over the world. Your children could too. We wanted to improve ourselves. We wanted to help others. That was very important to us, to be part of something, helping others. And in this case, in Shaklee, we help others become healthier. We help others, find themselves by having their own business. We also protect our planet, because Dr. Shaklee started that before anybody, with our Basic H, a biodegradable product, before anybody knew what biodegradable was. We were green before anybody knew what green meant. Green was just a color on the wall for people. And of course, enjoying a healthier life personally. Financially, that extra income is going to be great. You can do your Shaklee business part-time. You can buy your first home with your Shaklee business, or you can buy a second home. Pay off your debt, like student debt that many young people have today. In my case, I want to create an income for my retirement years where I never have to worry about that Social Security check I mentioned earlier. That will be my pocket change once I start receiving Social Security. And I must tell you guys, I don't plan on receiving Social Security until I turn 70. Because right now, we don't need it. We'll just wait till we're 70, and then there'll be our pocket change. Becoming financially independent as probably you've listened to Jim Burke, is so, so important. When you're financially independent, it gives you like the freedom to do just about anything you want to do any day. And of course, professionally, being recognized for your achievements. Shackley, we recognize all the time, anything you do. You're free to make your own choices because you get to work with who you want to work with, when you want to work. It's not like having that job, that job, where they tell you who you have to work with. You know, many corporations today tell somebody, I want you to train this person to do your job, and then they let you go afterwards. And also feel like you're doing something that matters. Be your own boss, enjoy your job. I love just walking from my room, our room upstairs, downstairs to my office, and I don't have to worry about rush hour traffic or anything. I'm at work because the Ramos family has always done their Shackley business from their home. What would make your tomorrow better than today? First of all, health-wise, Shackley will make your health better today than yesterday. But also Shackley, the business, will give you a better tomorrow. So I hope I've helped all of you and motivated you to be part of this system. Remember, we have a system that's proven. You don't need to look for anything else. This is something that's been proven, and I assure you that if you put the time in and recruit, you're going to receive all the benefits that Lori and I have received with Shackley. Any questions, by the way? Joe, that's it.
Thanks, Albert.